Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a what we're going to call a intro to graphing of exponential equations. Um, what we've got here is we've got two separate equations here: y equals 2 to the x power and y equals 1/2 to the x power. We're just going to do um, some quick, you know, introductory stuff with what exponential equations are going to look like. When we had linear equations in our first recursive routines, they were all in a line. And hopefully we noticed here that these things aren't constant or they're not consistent, so they won't be in a line. So we're going to kind of examine what they're going to look like. So how we're going to do this is we're going to create a table for these values for these equations, and we're going to plot these tables here and see kind of what they're going to look like. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and so forth. Okay, so if you put in what we're looking here is we've got 2 to the x power. So when we substitute, that's going to be 2 to the 0 power. And we're going to find out that when you take anything to the power of 0, you end up with an answer of 1. Okay, and we're going to talk more about that in future sections, but our first dot here is going to go at the point 0, 1. So it's 0 on the x value, 1 for the y value. We go at 1. Then we do the same thing for 2 to the first. That's going to give us a value of 2. So we're going to have our next point at 1, comma 2. And then we do the same thing here at 2 to the second power. So that's going to be 4. So we have 2 to the fourth. We do the same thing here with 3. And what's going to happen when you have y equals 2 to the third, we're going to end up with 8. That's going to be off our graph, but it's going to be up there, so forth. Okay, so if you see here, our values are getting bigger, and we call this they're getting bigger exponentially. So we're going to have a nice little curve to our line. Okay, and so forth. And so when we have a value that's bigger than 1 and it's getting to the x power, it's going to go up, so forth here. Okay, then we're going to get into negative exponents here later on, but those values we're going to get smaller in that aspect there. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to do that with 1/2 x. So we're going to have x, and we're going to have y, we're going to have 0, 1, 2, 3. And so when we put this in, this is going to be 1/2 to the x power. We know that we're going to, when we put it in for 0, we're going to end up with 1. So now we're going to take a look at, so we're going to have this intersection point there. So now we're going to take a look at 1/2 raised to the first power. That's going to give us 0.5. So now our first point is going to be down there. And then we're going to do 0.5 squared, which gives us 0.25. So that's going to be somewhere down there. And then we do it to the third. And that's going to give us 0.125. So it's going to get smaller here and so forth. And what you're going to see is it's going to go in the opposite direction now. All right, so our graph here is going to go up this way, and then when we go smaller in positive directions, it's going to get closer and closer to 0. The thing with exponential equations is it's not going to touch 0 and it's not going to go below 0. Okay, same thing over here. When it's a normal equations like these, they're not going to go, and you're not going to have negative values for y values because you're not going to take anything times itself and get a negative number. Okay, so it's just a little bit of a preview of what's going to happen and what we're going to be asking you to do here, but kind of look how exponential equations look and so forth. When their positive numbers are bigger than 1, and they're going to be going up at a very steep rate. When they're less than 1, or less than, not less than 1, but from 0 to 1, they're going to go down. Okay, so this would be like a percent increase in the black, a red's a percent decrease. Okay, so that's just a little bit of a preview, just something to help you out when we start doing some stuff. If you have any questions, make sure you let me know. Have a good day.